You may think that air is pretty simple, straightforward stuff, but this is far from true. Believe it or not, air is actually a mixture of different types of gas molecules. The components of air are important because they allow both plants and animals to breathe, trap heat on Earth, keeping it warm, and block harmful UV radiation from coming in through the atmosphere. However, these gases need to be present in just the right amount in order to do their jobs correctly. You may be surprised to learn that the most prominent gas in Earth's atmosphere is not oxygen. This is certainly an important component, but our atmosphere is in fact mostly nitrogen, about 78%. Oxygen is the second biggest player, making up about 21% of the atmosphere. Argon is next, but here we get another significant drop, only 0.9% of the atmosphere, not even 1%. There are several other components, but they occur in such small quantities that they're all grouped together as other gases, and together they make up only 0.04% of the atmosphere. This other category contains components that you are likely familiar with: water vapor, carbon dioxide, helium, ozone, methane, hydrogen, neon, and carbon monoxide, just to name a few. There are also particles floating around the atmosphere like dust and pollen, and these are such a small fraction that they are less than 1/100,000th of a percent. These percentages may make it sound like there isn't much of anything but nitrogen and oxygen in the air, but it's important to remember that there is a whole lot of air up there. The atmosphere extends to over 300 miles above the ground and circles the entire planet. So while the other category makes up only 0.04 of a percent, that still covers a lot of space. You may have recognized some of the gases in the list of other components as greenhouse gases. This category as a whole makes up only a small fraction of the atmosphere, but just because they are small in numbers does not mean they do not play a large role. In fact, we should be glad that gases like water vapor, carbon dioxide, and methane occur in small amounts they do, because they are such potent greenhouse gases. Like a thick blanket that covers Earth, they are especially good at trapping heat. And because their concentrations are increasing due to human activity, more heat than ever is being trapped underneath these gases, and Earth overall is warming. Ozone is also a small but very important component of the atmosphere. Ozone is made up of 3 oxygen molecules and is what protects us from harmful UV radiation coming from the sun. Ozone absorbs this radiation, blocking most of it from reaching us on the ground. This is why there is such a concern about the thinning of the ozone layer. If it can't do its job properly, then more UV radiation reaches us on Earth. This is a major issue because UV radiation makes us very sick. It causes skin cancer, cataracts, DNA mutation, and harms other plants and animals as well. Though you can't tell by looking at it, air is made up of many different components. About 78% of Earth's atmosphere is nitrogen, and only about 21% is oxygen. Argon makes up less than 1%, only 0.9% of the atmosphere is argon. Everything else occurs in such small amounts that they get grouped together as other components. These are gases such as water vapor, hydrogen, helium, neon, methane, carbon dioxide, and ozone. Particulate matter such as dust and pollen also contribute, but they make up less than 1/100,000th of a percent. Many of the components of the other category are greenhouse gases. These are small but mighty. Even though they make up a small percentage of the overall atmosphere, they are very potent gases, trapping heat underneath them like a giant blanket over Earth. To some degree, this is beneficial because we need Earth to be warm in order for us to survive. However, human activity is increasing their concentrations to dangerous levels, trapping too much heat on Earth and increasing global temperatures too much. Ozone is also found in the other category, but is no less significant. Ozone has the very important job of protecting us from harmful UV radiation, which causes cancer, cataracts, DNA mutation, and harms plants and other animals on Earth. It's important to remember that while the percentages of everything but nitrogen and oxygen sound small, there's a lot of air up there. Our atmosphere extends to over 300 miles above the ground and covers the entire Earth. So even small percentages of a lot are still, well, a lot.